Hey everybody, it's the Trout. Hope you're having a great day. You know what to do. Hit the little subscribe button down at the bottom. It's going to go ding. If you like the channel or if you like this video, make sure you push the little thumbs up things. Helps us grow our channel. We'd like you to do that and it helps us immensely. So here's a question for you. So let's say you live in a nice, affluent, suburban neighborhood. You know, the kind where the parents take their kids to soccer, kids play in the street, people playing baseball nearby. And then, one day you're sitting in your office and you hear this. Wow, you say to yourself, what the heck is that? So you stroll outside and you peer into your neighbor's house, and then you see this. Now you're wondering, what the heck is that with these ladies that seem to be rocking out in a suburban home? Well, you've come upon Mothers of Mayhem. Yes, these four ladies out of Utah put together a great band and they are rocking their area out like crazy. It wasn't just a whim, they're great artists. They play some covers, as you just heard that Led Zeppelin cover that they did, and they're writing their own music to bring their own album out. So what do I have to say about it? Well, I got to interview them. Fun times with some fun ladies. Stick to this channel right now and you'll hear the story. The Mothers of Mayhem. Oh, and what do the kids think about it?
Mom, we're trying to sleep.
That's next on The Trout Show. So let's just start with the basic. How many are there? Four in a band or five? There four of you?
Four.
Okay.
Four of us.
All right. Now the joke I would ask you is, who's Mayhem? You have Mothers and you have Mayhem. Who's the Mayhem person?
Well, we like to say that we've got 19 mayhems between the four of us.
Ah, okay. Got that.
Yeah, that name Mother infers a lot of mayhem.
Got it. Got it. So how did you, let's just start with the basic. How did you guys get together? There was something about it. Some of you, all of you have been musicians before, or some of you are classically trained, or something. So how did that all begin?
So, it's interesting because I think what's surprising is just how many musicians you have around you that you may not be aware of, right? It seems like, especially here in Utah, a lot of people grow up playing a musical instrument, learning a musical instrument. I play the guitar. I played it my whole life. I teach guitar lessons right now into school in music. And we all are neighbors, and our drummer is actually was a piano major in college. We went to the same school, and I knew her, and we had done some musical projects before, just small things, it seems like, right, Nikki?
Right.
Yeah. We knew each other musically a little bit in the Valley, and she decided to start taking up the drums, just decided to do something new. And she had mentioned to me, if I wanted to maybe do an all women's band. So I'll have to let Nikki talk also, because this was really something that she had been thinking about. How much bands spend so much time together. So the thought of being able to do it and just be all women and be able to have it be a fun way to spend time together and not have the husbands have any issues with it or anything like that too. But I told her that bands take all your time and make no money. And really, they take all your money too, don't they?
Gee, you've learned quickly.
So I told her no. But it seemed like once my kids were in kindergarten, then I went back to where I reached out again and said that I was ready to jump in. It sounded like something I really needed, actually. I don't know, Nikki, did I explain that well enough? That's at least how it initially started. That's not how we got to
So you all live in the same regionally close in the same neighborhood? All of you do?
We live within a few miles of each other. It's quite
Okay.
remarkable.
So
Yeah.
what city do y'all live in?
We live in Huntsville, Utah, and Eden. I'm technically in Eden. They're in Huntsville, the rest.
Okay.
And it's a small mountain valley. We're like nestled in between 3 ski resorts, and there's a reservoir, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And we, yeah, I took up the drums, and drums are just, it's kind of more exciting to play with other people than by myself, I thought. And I knew Jamie was killer on guitar, and I'm like, will you let me play with you, please? And you know, she was awesome to like give me a chance. And then a couple of years back, I had met Victoria pushing kids on the swing. We were at a park, like, I don't know if like our kids had soccer games or whatever, but we were at the park and met that way and had a conversation. And somehow in that conversation, I learned that she had once before played bass. And so it's like, I know someone who at least has played bass before. And Jamie knew Victoria, and she's like, what, she does? So I'm like, yeah. And so Victoria, you know, decided that, sure, I can join a band.
We have a power trio. We have a power trio.
Yeah.
So.
And then I was like, well, who do you know anyone who sings? I mean, I knew some women who sang, but not like in the style that we
Gotcha.
wanted to do something with a little bit more energy and
Right.
volume. And I'm like,
Right.
I don't know anyone. But Jamie and Victoria both thought of Jessica. And Jamie, you can talk about how you came to think about Jessica, because I think it's cute.
Church, actually.
Yeah.
That doesn't
But
surprise me. Jessica, go ahead and tell us how you came in, because you're the lead singer. You're the face of the band, so to speak.
I am. It's actually kind of funny. I joked around as a little kid. I would sing in church with that was my singing career. I actually went to college and got a minor in music on the saxophone. And so this whole singing thing, I like avoided choirs, and it was all a church career for me. I used to tell my mom that I'm going to sing in church and someday somebody's going to discover me. And, you know, I grew up and moved on with my life. And so I got a message one day from Jamie, said, you know, I knew her name. I didn't really know any of them very well. I've heard you sing in church. We're going to start a band. And I thought, oh, somebody discovered me in church. And in fact, I told my mom, I said, so you know that dream when I was a little kid? And she said, yeah. And then you grew up? And I was like, well, not really. So I was really excited. I more of a church country type vocals background. So this was something that, you know, we're all taking on new challenges in. I, as you can see, love the kind of music we play, but I'd never tried to sing it. And so trying to sing that kind of style has been really interesting and really hard. In a lot of ways, it's very different than anything I'd done before. So it provided a really unique challenge for me. And then Jamie's been gracious enough to help me catch up to speed and play the rhythm guitar parts. And I noodle around on the keyboard when we need that too. But each one of them could probably do it better than I am. That's just that their hands are already occupied. So
Victoria, you play bass. Is that something, I mean, obviously that's not something women pick up and go, hey, I think I want to play bass that weighs 40 pounds and hang around. Yeah.
Right. Well, I was in college and my roommates were starting a girl band and they needed a bassist, and I was dating a bassist. So I'm practically a bassist, right? I mean, so I just like, I'm sure I can do that. And just picked it up, did that for a couple of years, and then that was over. And the bass is like the drums, lame alone. If you're playing alone, it's super boring.
Yeah.
So I tried to keep it up, but kind of put it away. And then I think it was Nikki that reached out to me about playing in the band, and I was like, oh, I mean, I have it somewhere, so I had to dig it out and find it and remember and get better. So really I've tried to put in a lot of hours to so I can kill it.
So how long have you been together? When did it get established? When did the band start?
Let's see, October 17th. Yeah.
Oh, so you've been together for a while.
Mhm.
It's
And
worked so well. I'm
We're
just
gonna-
gonna just jump in with one more thing. When Nikki and I were kind of trying to decide, who we wanted to bring on, we knew we couldn't do auditions. That's just not how we wanted to do it. It was going to be an invitation only, and we focused more on personalities and I guess less on musicianship. And the thought was, if the chemistry works right in the band, we can have a lot of fun together. That sounded like a different way than I've done it in the past, but a way worth giving a try. And we just knew that we could only go as fast as the band could let us go, every player. And we might be the best band in the neighborhood and we might not be. And after the first couple of rehearsals, we hadn't made it through one song completely without falling apart. I have to admit that I was really
that's
worried
typical.
that I
That's very
went
typical.
the wrong direction.
Yeah.
But we were. It was more fun and a better experience than I had ever had in any other playing situation. So it definitely seemed like worth still trying to be at least a band that could get through a song together. And then it took off pretty well.
The thing that goes through my mind is when all of you married, all of you married, is you going into your husbands. You don't need to tell me, but I can imagine what that was like. Hey, honey, I got this idea. I want to play in a rock band. Okay, honey. Yeah, okay. And I have to buy an amplifier. Oh, okay. How much?
It's gonna cost a lot of money. It's gonna, spend a
And
lot
you're
of
not
time.
going to recoup, but I'm going to be real happy, and we're not going to recoup any of it. So everything you go through is what everybody else goes through. And the great thing about talking to people, no matter where they are, it's a lot of people started playing in church, singing in church. That seems to be the common thread. You're a little different, I think. So, and not in one aspect, but all of you all love music when you were younger. Were you all singers, performers when you were younger? I mean, obviously somebody went to school. Were you all bitten by the bug at a young age to, I want to play music?
I definitely was. The first time I sang in church, I was 3.
Wow.
And then I started playing piano at 5, and then started playing saxophone and other woodwind instruments in 5th grade, and was in a concert band, jazz band, and all-state marching band, and mostly took off with band. And that's what I had scholarships for going to school. But I always loved performing. I was a dancer too. So I loved that. I loved the drama and the theater and the performing arts in all of the ways.
Well, as you all know, and you talked about it earlier, the camaraderie is what it is. And the thing about it is, and you guys already know this, you all have inside jokes that nobody understands. I mean, seriously, I know you do. But part of it is, you're exactly right, is that you're trying to find something to fit in, but you really never know. You never know until you start performing. And so I think what you're doing is funny, because not funny, but it's funny because what you're doing is you set out to do something completely different. You want to play, but you want to have fun. Most people, I'm too serious about it. So I can tell by just talking to all 4 of you right now, you're out there having fun. Of course, watching your videos, I can tell that you're having fun. So so you play locally. I was looking at where your playing are. Most of the places you play, what's the farthest you've ever gone? Have you gone to California or Idaho or anything? You stayed in Utah?
Page, Arizona is the
Oh,
farthest.
that's right.
from
Okay.
here. Mhm.
And did the family go with you, or did they
Some
stay
did.
back?
Yes and no. Some.
Have you crossed the bridge where they all go, Mom, I don't need to hear you again. I've heard you already 30 times. Have you had that
A
one
little
already?
bit.
Crossed
A
that
little
bridge?
bit.
Yeah.
Far we've gone has actually been something we've talked about a lot. We are trying to balance this with lives that we're already pretty busy,
Sure.
and we decided that we'd only actually play twice a month. And for the most part, that's what we've done. And then in the winter, we don't perform for a few months, and then we write, we record instead. And that has really shaped how far we can go, you know? So we have been tempted, and every once in a while, like, oh, we should go out to California, or we should go further. And maybe we'll start doing some of that, but we've actually tried to keep things relatively close to home, but yet still try to get bigger shows. It's tough because, you know, we think we've got something that's pretty great and it's really entertaining, and we put on an incredible show, and you want to see what it can do. And then at the same time, you're like, oh, but I've got soccer practice I've got to get to on Monday.
Is this gig going much longer? I got soccer
Friday
practice.
night I've got this, you know, and there's just no way. And so it's, that seems to be about what we've come up with and why we maybe haven't gone further away or performed more. We're trying to just hit it in a different, we've already broken the mold of what most people do. And we continue to do it our way with every step.
The other thing you have to overcome too is I think you could perform other places, but you don't want to be a novelty band. I mean, that's you know, there is that. I mean, you do put on a show and you kind of play the part, which is what you're supposed to do when you're on stage, play that. But you don't want people to think they're a novelty band, because you start playing and you're, wait a minute, this isn't what I expected. I thought they were just going to come out and play 3 chords and be done. No. You guys are serious about it. And I think that's the other thing. And could you play more places? I'm sure you could. It's just like you said, do all of you work? You have day jobs, or do you have a real life too besides this? All of you work?
I
Yes.
do run businesses. I own businesses with my husband. So I run those all day. And then I'm the one that has 7 kids. So they're spread out all over the place. And
Just 7. Just 7. Okay.
yeah, just 7, you know, just a couple.
So the rest of you work though? You all have jobs? So even if you, so Victoria, you don't, but you're a mother, so you have that job, right?
I'm a mother. I feel like I'm really active doing things, you know, volunteer at the school, volunteer at the church.
You're in that age group. You're in that with
Mhm.
kids.
Right.
Who's
It
got
takes
the oldest child? Who's the oldest child of all of you?
Jessica and I both have,
yeah.
they're the
Are
same
they,
age,
they're
Kaylee and Ellie.
teens or they're older?
They're 21.
Oh, they're 21. See, that's a
Yeah.
compliment.
22.
You don't look that old.
I'm a grandma of a 1-year-old.
Oh my. Well, that's why you're screaming when you sing. So there you go.
And now you know how I practice my vocals.
But you know, all right, so how do you decide? This is one of the hardest things when you're playing covers. Who decides? Do you guys just somebody brings a song and says, we thought about doing this? Or how does it, I mean, you got such a array of music that, you know, Hendrix, Zeppelin to Eurythmics to whatever else you had on there, Johnny Cash, come on. But so how does that work? How does that?
Boxing gloves. We bring them to rehearsal and just, no, I'm kidding. It's actually a challenge, and we're pretty selective. We don't want to play things that would need to be censored for kids. We have a lot of kids, and so that's important to us. Family, you know, and that's part of our appeal for so many ages, you know, age range, types of people. They are able to enjoy what we do for various reasons. But it's a process. We'll bring a song, and, you know, some of us will be like, I don't want to do that song. And someone says, but this is my favorite song, or whatever. So we work it out.
That's a tough gig right there. Yeah.
And, but it is important to us to check the lyrics, to make sure that, like I said, they don't need censorship.
No. Well, you're going to be playing in family-oriented places anyway, where you're playing.
We typically do. And then we love to put our own spin on it.
Yes.
And that's what we can take a song like Ring of Fire or Sweet Dreams, and give it more energy and harder sound and liven it up in a way that we think is fun. And others seem to think so too.
Yeah, Nikki, well, I mean, Nikki needs the lyrics to be good, but she also needs to use her double bass pedal. So it's like,
turns out I like that.
It's this really weird push and pull with trying to be family friendly, but also to make everything harder and louder. And we're really pretty loud. And I have my Marshall half stack too, right?
There you go.
So it's both, because we also want that shock. And that's kind of why we did start with these, these heavy metal bands from the 70s. We really focused on 70s, early 80s heavy metal initially, like Metallica, Guns N' Roses. Those types of bands. And that just was for that juxtaposition. We thought, if you see four women together, right, and they're playing kind of some soft music, anything soft, it's probably not going to hold your interest quite like seeing somebody go up there and then sing Sweet Child by Guns N' Roses, but yet you had
It's
19
so funny.
kids, right? And so
yeah, I can hear you already. Yeah.
Well, and that was a lot of the decision making too, was just that we needed that. It needed to be harder. It just did. But doing that in a way that also has family friendly lyrics is a real.
Well, and it's kind of like taking a hard scene and softening it too. So it's this interesting juxtaposition that's just cool.
Yeah, and the thing about it, when you walk on stage, I'm sure the first thing people think it's the Go-Go's. I mean, they're going to think, which one's Belinda? Which one's Belinda? And and then all of us. So what is your first typical song you start out your set with when you first hit the stage? What is it?
We actually do. Yeah, it's a Dusty Springfield song. It's actually more related to a version of a Volbeat. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're a Danish metal band. They opened for Metallica and got pretty big that way. We do kind of more their version of it. And the first thing I do.
What's the song?
It's called I Only Want to Be With You.
Oh, I know that song. Yeah.
Yeah, but we start out with these massive, loud, drop D power chords coming through. And the first thing I do, and we have to warn the sound people because we've accidentally blown out speakers with my voice, is she screams. The first thing she does is yells, like it's really loud. And then I go and I sing. And then so my range is huge. And we do actually have to really warn people about that. But we have this big sound, this big crashing sound with these little dresses on. And wherever we are, my first introduction is hello, wherever, we are Mothers of Mayhem.
Thank you, Detroit, as the old joke goes. Thank you, Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but you know what's, you're so smart about it. All of you are smart about doing it because that's what makes you guys unique. Because you could easily get up there and do women rock, good Lord. I mean, unless you want to play Joan Jett, right. The one song that made her famous. But the rest of it's going to be, or Pat Benatar, which that's a tough song if you're going to play because you got to learn how to play like her husband, he's a great guitar player. But I think that's what makes you guys smart. You walk out, you got this look, got the poodle shirts on, going, okay, vacation, and all that good stuff. And then you. And I can only see you going to it's just mind-blowing. So I think it's so funny going up the sound. Hey, man, I just want to tell you, we're going to blow your speakers out the first note that we hit. That's hilarious. But
and here's your homemade cookies from Victoria.
Oh, yeah. And we make them homemade cookies. Victoria does. So.
I need something to hand them when I tell them we make your speakers.
That's hilarious. And they're looking at you like, yeah, whatever.
Right.
And then you hit it. And then they say, well, what's your first song? It's a Dusty Springfield song. They probably don't even know who Dusty Springfield is. That's number one. Is she come from the 90s or, she out of, no, she's from the 60s. What? So I think you're very clever. And as you go forward, as you guys keep doing what you're doing, I know how hard it is because I know where you are right now. I know you want to get really good. But what you're doing is doing something all musicians do. You love what you do. So do you guys just reach out to people to book? Have you gotten enough? You've been around enough now that people know who you are, that they come to you, or how's that work?
It's kind of half and half, I guess. We get, people reach out to us, and then we apply for the different festivals that we'd like to play, I guess, right? Would you say that half and half?
It
Probably.
seems like we'll apply for a festival. We'll tell them we'll play for half price, right? The first time we play.
Right.
Because we feel like you'll probably need to see us. But after that, if you want us back, it's full price. And it's, everyone wants you back. So,
That's a good thing.
we do
That's a good
apply,
thing.
but as time has gone on, it seems like people are just reaching out to us to keep coming back too. Which is nice.
That's even better. Your work is your work is, I mean, your jobs are doing what you're supposed to be doing. People want to come to you and they want to hear you. And I'm just curious, you back off a little bit in the winter because you want to spend more time with your family. Is it harder to get gigs inside?
No, it's not to spend time with our families. We love our families.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Sorry.
No. It's to write, actually. We've been
Oh,
putting
okay.
out some recordings. And so that's been the reason. And we do play inside. They're a little bit harder to get. The bar gigs are great, except that they want a 3 to 4 hour set. And
Yep.
they pay what, like $400? They
Yep.
usually won't pay us what we want.
No.
So we're a little less interested in that. The festivals seem to be a better use of our time. But it's mostly been, we'll step away from gigs mostly during the winter, not because we can't get them, but just so we have a space to focus on the writing.
And where do you go to rehearse? Somebody's house, or do you have a place that you can do it?
Yeah, we've got a band room in my barn. So that's the new one. Let's see, that was 2 years ago we got that. Has it been that long? Before that, we were in Jamie's garage. She would sweep it out every
Women's garage band. How cool is
time
that?
beforehand. And before that, we were in Nikki's garage for a minute. And before that, we were in Nikki's basement in a spare bedroom with 2 beds in the room. So we've come it's come
Oh,
No, I'd put my
okay.
kids to bed and then we'd rehearse and they'd like be at school the next day, like, oh, tired.
getting calls from the teacher.
So when you put this together, and now you've come down the road a little, what's your goals now? I mean, they can't be the same as they always been. I mean, what is it you want to do? Victoria, you shaking your head like, okay, you tell me what the goal is.
I'm
What's
just
your
laughing.
what's your dream? I mean, come on.
My first goals was to play period at anything that anyone wanted to see us.
Yeah.
That, and we did that. It was like, oh, that, and then goals about sound, being able to run sound and even understand it. And we had such baby goals. I did such little baby goals, like Jamie said, that we'd be the best band in the neighborhood. And when we did that, we were the only band, so that happened quickly. But
we're number one. Yeah.
yes, on the top. And then it was to write a song, and then it was, all these little steps. So they've been, for me, very low goals.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been attainable, and that's been really, really fun, because then we keep reaching them, and then like, oh, what next? And I guess I kind of doubted what we could accomplish, what we could do, because we all are moms first. We all have limited time, limited space,
Families first.
Yes. And so is it even possible to create something awesome that doesn't just stay in the garage? There's lots of awesome stuff in the garage, but to be able to take that out as well, and then to reach some of those goals, and to look around and say, oh my gosh, guys, like this is possible. It is happening. Let's keep going. What's the next step? What's the next step? So for me, I think for us, we're looking at, let's write an album. Let's write an album. It's been hard. It's been hard,
Yeah.
but it's been rewarding, and we're working it out and we're sorting it out. I think we all have goals. I wanted to play at Snow Basin Ski Resort, and we reached that last year. And I thought there was no way we could ever get that high. And now that I look at it, it's like, psh, that's small. That's peanuts. What's next? What's next? Come on.
Don't sell yourself short is what I'm saying. You've already figured that out. Stick to your goals, which I love. The fact that you said, we're going to do this. We're not going to, you said, Victor, you're not going to play a bar, or you're not going to play it, and make them come to you, which they're doing.
That's one of the things that I think we talked about and that we've learned is, like, because we are in such a different walk of life, we're not teenagers or college kids going out needing to, trying to make money or whatever. We realize a little bit more, because of our families, especially, how valuable our time is. And that's one of our deciding factors. It's like, well, I'm not going to sell myself short on time I could have with my children or my husband or my family vacation. We try to actually take all of our vacations at the same time so they don't overlap our gigs, and then we're not having to miss, cool. We have to be highly efficient because of our lives. And it's like, because of that, our gig strategy is really pretty efficient too. We don't just settle for every backyard barbecue and whatever. And we do get a lot of requests for those, but we kind of gauge what's worth our time, not just from a musician standpoint and all the time that goes into that, but our time of being away from our families and being away from our kids, and with the whole shtick and the whole get up and all that. I mean, it's gig day is the whole day. It's a whole day of hair and makeup and all of these things that we've put into it. And it's not like, oh, we play at 6 tonight, let's go to the theme park earlier. No, that would never happen. So it is a whole kind of process and strategy that we factor into our value, so to speak, and trying not to undersell that part of who we are too, because for us, that really comes first. But one of the coolest things that I've seen is when we do keep those priorities in check and our focus where it really should be, it seems like really unique and really interesting opportunities come our way. And it feels like when you're doing kind of the right things, I guess, in life, those things kind of open up for you. And so that's been really cool for me, at least, to kind of see that unfold as we continue to keep our priorities straight. Because you get tempted, like, oh, maybe we should rehearse 5 times a week instead of once. It'd be so much better. And it's like, well, or I could efficiently rehearse and practice on my time and put the work in an efficient way and keep making progress, I guess. So,
what you're bringing, ladies, and you probably didn't even think about it, something we're vastly missing in America. You're bringing family values to your gigs. You really are. I mean, that's kind of what you're doing, which is really cool, because as we all know, we're missing that in the United States anymore as much as we should. And your priorities are straight. You love what you do, but you have other priorities, and it eventually, who knows what's going to happen. The album situation, how far along are you? You said you've been working on it now for how long?
Worked on it over the winter.
Okay.
So we put 3 or 4 months into it, and we have a couple of originals that we were able to put out. One of them, and here's a goal. We have 2 goals actually that are bigger. It's good to put these out, right? We're going for South by Southwest. And then the other one is the Tiny Desk concert. We're going to do that. We have an original. It's called Elijah Jones. And this is a story that only 4 women from Utah can write. It's a murder ballad, but it's a heavy metal murder ballad, and it's based in southern Utah. And it's 4 polygamous wives and 1 man, Elijah.
It's a self-defense ballad. That was actually really important.
What's the title of the song? Have you got a
Elijah
title?
Jones.
What's it called? She said that. What was it?
Elijah Jones.
Oh, Elijah Jones. Okay.
It's a
Sounds
great song.
sounds like it's made for a movie.
Yeah, no.
Oh, we're also working on a video for it for
Video,
this fall.
yeah. So that one's out, right?
Yeah.
We're really happy with how that song. If we hope we can make 10 more originals that are that good.
Who's your favorite drummer? Living or dead?
Oh, gosh, I think I'd have to go with Cindy Blackman.
Okay. Victoria, bass player?
Probably Flea. He's amazing.
Really?
Oh,
is that?
yeah, it's incredible.
No, I'm not saying that. It just kind of got me off guard. Like, just whatever.
Who did you expect?
No, I mean, I would, nothing. I don't expect anything. And you, Jamie, what's your favorite guitarist?
But my most influential has
Yeah, let's put it
been
that way. Most influential.
probably Johnny Cash has been my most influential guitarist.
Wow.
Yeah, so simple, but really has colored so much of what I do.
That's a musician talking right there. Right there. Colored. And finally, the singer. Who would you love to go see now? If you could say, man, if I could even sing close to that person, who would that be?
I've actually always been incredibly inspired by Martine McBride and
Really?
her powerhouse vocals, this little 5'2" female singer, what just brings this. And then when I was little, actually, I would learn and practice holding notes forever by getting in contests with her and see if I could hold it longer than she did on one breath. And I love that because it's become one of my things that I do now. We have a few moments in our set or in the studio. Actually, if you go listen to our recorded cover of Eleanor Rigby, there's a part
I have
in
listened
it,
to it. Yeah.
that part's not fake. I take one breath through. I
Now
think
I'll have to listen
to
to it again. I'll listen to it again.
Yeah, there's the kind of the build part where I hit the octave and go through all that. It's about 7.5 bars, and that's all one breath. And after we recorded it, I went, oh shoot, now I got to do that live. But I have, and she's always been one of those people who I've always thought, wow, if I could sing like that and just have that power in that little explosive dynamite in my little 5'2" stature, I would love that.
So who do you have your built-in roadies? Family roadies? Do you have your own kids?
Yep, our kids. We actually, when we set out to do this, we have a collapsible drum riser that my kids and my husband and I built. It's made out of, it looks terrible until we put it all together. It's made out of these boards that click together and then buckets, actual like Home Depot buckets underneath, and then they come off. Those are the stairs. And then I think it was Victoria that made a skirt to go around it. So when it's all set up, it actually just looks like a skirted riser. It's great. But our goal was to be able to do everything ourselves as us 4 ladies and have everything as movable and as kind of independently as we can. Our favorite thing though now is to have our kids and husbands come and do it for us because it's so much work.
Sometimes it takes the fun out of playing. It really does, especially if it's hot outside and you're like, like that. So Jamie, what's your guitar choice?
Oh my heck, what a question. Right?
Yeah.
Right now I'm playing on a Fender Strat. It's a professional SSH. So it's got, I wish it had 2 humbuckers. I need to get another one put in for the lead. But I have a Gibson 335 dot.
Oh, you do?
I've had since my teenage years that I absolutely love, and a couple
Beautiful
of
guitar.
acoustic ones too. So I mean, you always need one more guitar, right? But that's funny because the difference is
You don't even see all the ones that are in the closet.
Yeah, I see it. I've got it hanging all over my walls too.
Yeah.
But I really, when we gig, I usually will only stick with that Fender.
The Strat.
And just trying to get the right sound out of it. Because once I've got it dialed in, I just prefer to keep it on. As soon as you start, anyway, Jessica has a million guitars, but that's my strategy. So I need one more pickup than that, and then I'll be, maybe I'll be.
No, you won't. No, you won't. No, you won't. No. It's like buying. Victoria, do you play? I forgot. I remember watching you. What's your bass? Do you play precision, or what do you play, or what do you?
Right now I'm a Music Man Dark Ray. I just got that in the, right after like January, and it's fun. It's it's a different sound. Before that, I had a Fender Mustang and really enjoyed that. So, but when I bought the dark gray, I decided I've got to go cold turkey off the Fender, just play the dark gray, really like dig into it. And I've been having a lot of fun with it.
And what do you plug into?
I'm an Ampeg. I've got an
Oh,
SP
okay.
Pro with an Ampeg cabinet. Loving it. Yeah. Trying to make those big in your face sounds. That's what I'm going for. So
I like bass players like that. And finally, the drummer. What kind of drums do you play?
Right now I am on a PDP set. I had a Premier that was my dad's that I inherited because he never played them, and I decided to take them. And then I got another PDP, and then I play with Meinl and Zildjian cymbals. I think cymbals are really, really fun. Just the difference in variance and sounds.
That's the pedals for guitars, is cymbals for drummers. That's exactly what this is. So
yeah. And I love my Meinl Darks. They fit really well with the style we're playing. And they look cool.
I also play the rhythm guitar, so I need to talk
yeah,
about that.
I know that. I didn't ask you. So what do you
but
play?
I only need to talk about it because I have a lot of guitars, but my favorite one, my workhorse that I go to all the time, is my ESP. It's a James Hetfield Snake Bite, and I plug it into a Mesa Boogie rectifier, Badlander rectifier, which I also like, but my practice amp is a Marshall, so there's that. But I love my ESPs.
The rectifier, is it tubes? I assume it's tube. Or is it?
Yeah.
And the Ampeg, is it tube too?
Yeah.
Or is it is? We all play tubes.
Oh,
That's what.
Yeah.
So one thing, it's like we want everything electronic except our amplifiers. Well, ladies, I don't want to keep you anymore. I appreciate all your time. The thing about it is just keep doing what you're doing. As they say, it's only rock and roll, but I like it. Ladies, have a great afternoon, okay?
Thank you.
Take care of yourselves. See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.